Welcome back. The Learning Style series continues. We have explored auditory and visual nonverbal learners thus far. This video examines visual verbal learners. While visual, nonverbal, and verbal learners have similarities, there are some differences. Let's not delay. Let's take a look at some ways to support visual verbal learners. Welcome back. So let's jump right into our understanding visual and verbal learners. We did visual nonverbal learners, and there are many similarities between the two. So this video is a little shorter simply because we're going to highlight some of the nuances between verbal and nonverbal learners. So we're going to start off with the importance, look at the characteristics, strategies and benefits, and some keys to remember. So what's the importance? Identifying or being able to identify your students' visual verbal learners improves comprehension through dual coding. So they have the visual and the verbal going on, supports reading, writing, and content retention, enhances communication and academic confidence, and promotes differentiated instruction, as we mentioned in all the videos. So some of the characteristics of the visual verbal learns best from diagrams with explanations. So similar to this presentation, the visual verbal learner would benefit because we have the visuals going on with the PowerPoint as well as the audio, right? Prefer reading directions and discussing ideas. So they can read it, they can read the text, no problem. But the verbal part comes with the explanation. Let's go back and forth and hash out and flush out these ideas. They benefit from captions, graphic organizers, and note-taking, and they connect visuals with vocabulary and concepts. So as an instructor, being able to present a multitude of visual and verbal audio contexts are beneficial for this population. So some considerations in the classroom. As an educator, we want to avoid relying on visuals without explanation. So the visual nonverbal, this is the person, like we talked about in the previous video, this is the person you can put up the images for and they're good to go. The visual verbal, they need a combination. So they want to have the visual as well as the explanation, right? Also, you want to balance images with meaningful text. We talked about having, for the nonverbal, we talked about avoiding having random text in your visuals because it throws them off. The same thing is true with the verbal. We want to have meaningful text, right? We don't want to include anything that's not necessary. We also want to provide opportunities for discussion and reflection. So yes, they are absorbing through the visual, boom, but now they want to reflect on it, discuss it, to hash it out. And then check understanding with multiple formats. So with the visual verbal learner, you can check it through oral comprehension, you can check it through written, you can check it through allowing them to create visuals to support their understanding of what they just learned. So some effective strategies in the classroom for the visual verbal learner: use anchor charts and labeled diagrams. Provide guided notes and graphic organizers. Incorporate videos with captions. Encourage some summarizing, journaling, and think, pair, share, and highlight key vocabulary visually. Okay. And as you look at some of these strategies, some of the veteran teachers are thinking, hey, that benefits everybody. This is true. This is true. If you look at these strategies, they could benefit any type of student, but specifically, your impact is going to be increased for the visual verbal student. So what are the student benefits? You have better retention, stronger literacy skills, improved organization, greater engagement, and increased confidence. My teacher understands I'm a visual verbal student, and their lessons entail aspects of visual verbal instruction. So for the teacher, you get higher participation, easier differentiation, improved formative assessments, and more meaningful classroom discussions. And for the school, you get higher achievement because now all of a sudden Like we talked about, the individual needs of the students are being addressed. You have a more inclusive learning environment. It supports a multi-tiered student support systems and universal designs of learning practices, and it improves collaboration across the classroom. So some grade level examples, as always, they're interchangeable, but let's go through them. For primary, picture books with discussion. Elementary, science diagrams with written explanations. Middle school, interactive notebooks. High school, infographics, debates, and annotated text. And again, depending on your population, you can feel free to interchange these strategies depending on the capacity of your student population. So ultimately, some keys to remember: we want to combine visuals with language for these particular students. We want to teach vocabulary explicitly with these students, use multiple representations, encourage active processing, and differentiate consistently. Okay, so again, we're talking about these different learning styles, but with every one of these learning styles, it is imperative that we mix. We use a plethora of strategies, mix and match, but we want to also make sure that they are represented in our instruction. Okay, it's not about making a visual verbal instruction lesson plan. That's not what we're doing here, but we want to make sure that aspects of our instruction incorporate and address this population of students. Thanks. We hope that was helpful. Remember, understanding and supporting visual verbal learners does not mean only using visual supports. Instead, integrating visual supports with other instructional approaches is best. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.